There's this amazing quote by the fabulous, amazing, wonderful Maya Angelou that says, when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. That was a really hard, challenging thing for me to accept. And that was a really difficult pill for me to swallow because I like to help people. I like to fix things. I like to solve problems. That's part of my nature. That's who I am. You know, I was the type of friend who would always be listening for the ability to solve someone's problem. You know, friends would tell me things like, oh, you know, that's not really my thing, or I'm not really interested in doing that, or I don't really do things that way. This is how I do things. And I would be the one encouraging them to totally change their lives, right? Not listening at all. And I thought that that was a great thing. And the problem was I wasn't accepting people. I wasn't accepting my friends. I wasn't accepting people in that I was in relationships with for who they truly were. You know, I was seeing them for their potential. You ever meet somebody and you know you think they're attractive and you go on a date with them and you're thinking about all the things that you can see you two doing together in the future, right? So you're thinking about like your children, what would they look like? You're thinking about your marriage, what would it look like? I think a lot of us do that, and it's because we see the potential in people, which is great, but we have to be mindful of accepting people for who they are at this moment in their lives. We have to accept people for what they are showing us now, right? And I realized that I was sort of accepting only what I wanted to see in people and not, you know, not the things that I didn't want to see or the things that I didn't want to accept. And what happened to me was I started losing friends, you know, because I wasn't really learning how to listen, learning how to love, learning how to accept people for who they were. There's this awesome book called The Five Love Languages, and it talks about how there are so many different ways that people express love and receive love. And it talks about how just because you express love in a certain way doesn't mean the person you're expressing the love to wants to or receives love in that way or needs to feel affection in that way. And that's what we have to be mindful, not only in our relationships, but also in our friendships, right? When I was a teacher, there was this saying that people used to say all the time. They used to get on my nerves, and it was, those who can't do, teach. Those who can't do, teach. And it used to piss me off every single time I would hear it. Because I was like, wait a minute, honey, like I can do a lot of things. I'm super capable, you know, I'm very talented. This is my ego talking. And you know, I wasn't really thinking critically about that statement. I wasn't being honest about it because while I looked really good as a history teacher on paper, I had gone to great schools, I had my master's degree, you know, I had an awesome professional life. It was very impressive. My personal life, honey, it was a train wreck. It was on the struggle bus, okay? I was a lost little miserable human being who had no idea what she wanted to do with her life and who was drinking her life away. You know, that was the only way I learned that I could medicate myself. I learned that alcohol was the way I could feel calm, not be as stressed, but I wasn't willing to do the work and I wasn't willing to look at myself for who I was and what I really needed to work on. And so in essence, what I was doing was I was just teaching, but I wasn't able to do the work on myself. I wasn't turning that critical eye onto myself. So if we look at, how society trains us to look outward, right? So we look outward for validation. So how do we find out how skilled we are, how important we are? We look to the outside world. We look to people to double tap on our pictures, to like our pictures. We compare ourselves to other people. We judge and criticize and point fingers to other people, but we're not willing to do the work ourselves, right? The opposite. I mean, if you look at social media for like 5 minutes, you can see the picture that society paints about how we can learn about who we are and how we validate who we are. But if you do the opposite, if you look inward instead, and you realize that everything that you do is a reflection of your inner self, that's when the magic starts to happen. That's when I started to have an epiphany. All the things that I was trying to do in terms of vicariously live through my friends and live through their relationships and their successes was because I was too scared to look at my own life. I was too scared to really analyze what was going on in here with me. I didn't want to take any responsibility for the train wreck that my life had become. I just wanted to drink my life away and help other people because that was easier for me. It's easier for us to look at other people's lives and figure out how we can help them than to look at our own lives, our own fears, the things that we struggle with, and figure out how we can help ourselves. So, I want to challenge you to something. I want to ask you to do something today. I want you to think about, for a moment, and really be honest with yourself. How much are you accepting people in your lives for who they are? How much are you accepting people in your lives for who they are? From your friends, to your family members, to your significant other. Are you pressuring them? Are you challenging them? Are you pushing them? Or are you listening to them? Are you loving them? Are you accepting them? A lot of times we judge and we say, you're not doing enough. If you would have done this, then this could have happened. You're not living your life to your full potential. But a lot of that is actually how we feel about ourselves. A lot of the angst and the feelings of anger that we have towards other people for things they may not have achieved are really about what we feel about ourselves. So think critically about that today. How much are you supporting people in your family instead of judging? How much are you listening and accepting and loving instead of jumping to conclusions or trying to fix or solve? I had to realize that it wasn't my responsibility to fix other people's lives. That wasn't my responsibility. That was up to the person who was telling me about their lives. I had to realize that I was only responsible for changing myself, for changing my own life, for living my best life. And in living my best life, only then could I accept others and encourage others. So after you analyze and think about your own relationships with other people, I want you to now take a critical eye and look at yourself. What are you doing to accept your own self? I want you to write out the following statement. I accept myself because ... And you can do this on your voice memo, on your phone, in your notes, in a journal, however best and whatever easiest for you to do this activity. But I want you to write out, I accept myself because. And under that, I want you to think critically of all the things that you're doing in your life to really accept yourself for who you are right now in this moment. Not who you want to be 7 months from now or who you want to be even tomorrow, but who you are right now. What are you doing to accept yourself for who you are? How are you appreciating yourself right now for who you are? I want you to write those things down and think about that. And I guarantee if you start to look inward at your own self and accepting your own self right now, living in the moment, you can have these beautiful, loving, accepting relationships with other people, you know? And so I want to encourage you to do that today. Take a look inward and ask yourself, what am I doing to accept myself? How do I know I accept myself? What activities, what things am I saying to myself that really lets me know I accept and I love myself right now in this moment? You can change your life because you can learn to accept yourself and accept others for who you and they are right now in this moment. I hope you have a beautiful, amazing day. Remember, it all starts with you. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your day.